And so to winter. And if they were harder winters then than we're supposed to have now, well, Daphne's sister couldn't have told you one way or the other because she was never in England to experience them. Of course, by the winter I'm talking about, Daphne was away too, in Switzerland, at a finishing school. She had the whole treatment. Because when she grew up finally, she was going to be... But that was the question. What or who was she going to be? A career, perhaps. So good for a girl to have something to do. But just what? In Switzerland, Daphne happened to see Sonja Henie. And then, of course, there was nothing for her but to be a great skater, except that she couldn't set foot on ice without falling on... Well, she just couldn't set foot on ice. On the other hand, sometimes she saw herself as another Madame Curie, or sometimes as a Dame Nellie Melba. But then, no voice, my dear. Daphne would rather like to have been Betty Nuthall. St. Winnie's influence, of course. Or how about going on the stage? Dainty like Evelyn Laye? Or cabaret like Norah, Blaney and Gwen Farrar? Or music hall? Heavens, look at Nellie Wallace washing up. Or the silver screen like Betty Balfour. Why not a dancer? But there was only one Pavlova. When it came to careers, Daphne's mummy didn't quite realise that these were the 20s, and the 20s were different. Oh, Mummy, I don't need a chaperone. Yes, the 20s had brought a whole new set of careers for women. A little unconventional, but careers all the same. Why, only the other day they had a visit to London from that American flying girl. What was her name? Oh, yes, Amelia Earhart. Then there was Britain's own Amy Johnson. Seemed nothing that women weren't doing nowadays. Going off on long car expeditions to Africa or India or China. How can they do it? I mean, the inconvenience and the discomfort. A women's world, that's what it was now. Even in the jungle, shooting big game with rifles or movie camera. And Daphne looked so well in breeches. But this is pipe dreaming. First we must finish Daphne off as a young lady. A big step to cut her hair off. The bob or the shingle. That's the way it goes now. Goodness, how Daphne's grown. Then coming out balls and dances. How divinely Albert Sandler plays. But what are we going to do with our lives? Have to have first. But you know, I do think this year's collections are a little disappointing. Skirts are getting shorter. I do realise that, and I suppose Paris does know best. I do hope they don't get any shorter than they are now, because I do think knees, well, I mean, knees. I don't much like knees. So Daphne got her first grown-up wardrobe. And so she should, because after all, she really is a big girl now. So goodbye to girlhood. Goodbye to the Pams and the Enids. Goodbye, Daph. Have your last fling before you grow up. A last fling in the 20s before you face the 30s and all that happened then. A last fling before... But I forgot to tell you. Daphne's career. All settled. My dear, first season out and he fell. Hook, line and sinker. Back to the collection again for the dress for the day. My dear, a castle in Scotland, a villa on the Riviera, and simply pots and pots. Which just goes to show how right it is to give a girl a wide education, doesn't it?